Now that we have our file open up in Photoshop, it's time to get to editing. So I want to be sure I have my move tool selected, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and where I have my background layer, since this is the only image I'm going to be using, I'm just going to unlock that so I can have all of my tools available just to start editing this picture. Now, the first thing I want to do is adjust my levels, okay? The levels give us our really nice whites and our really nice darks. It's so important for any image to have pure white and pure black, and then every other value in between light and dark, okay? To do this, we're going to go down to the bottom right where we have this half circle that's white and dark, which is going to be our new fill or adjustment layer. We're going to go ahead and just click that once, and that's going to give us a wide variety of options here. The one we're going to look at right now is called levels. So we're going to go and move up to levels and just click on levels. Now, once we click on levels, we're going to see this chart pop up, okay? Now, what this is showing us is all of the different values that we have in our image. Now, it's generally good practice that if we have a flat point here, that we want to move our dark over to make us have solid blacks, and then we want to move this over to meet the bottom of our line. If we look at my image, I have a pretty decent curve that leads up into my blacks, and I also have a pretty decent curve that moves into my whites, and I have a decent amount of everything kind of in between. So feel free to play around with some of these depending on what your image looks like. Now, you don't want your blacks to be super black like this, and you don't want your whites to be super white like this. So you want to try and have these out as far as possible. If you want to bump them up a little bit, by all means. But you want to be sure that you're just playing around with those enough just so you can really control how much light and dark you have in your image. So if your image is really blown out or very white, you want to be sure that maybe you bump up some of your blacks and maybe lower some of your whites. And you can also play around with your midtones here to then try and adjust those accordingly.